membership to further develop our relationship with local businesses. So now our first speaker is a long-time philanthropist, entrepreneur, and business executive. She recently was the recipient of the Justice Institute of British Columbia honoris causa. She's the chief officer of the Century Plaza and Spa, and she's the founder and president of the Absolute Spa Group and Soluzione Spa projects. Since founding Spa at the Century 12 years ago, Wendy has grown the company from a single location into the 58-time award-winning Absolute Spa Group, with 11 spas businesses to date, including Absolute Spa at the Century Plaza, Park Royal, Fairmont Hotel Vancouver, Fairmont Vancouver, River Rock Casino Resort, and 5 locations of the YVR and Absolute Spa Mobile. As chair of the Vancouver Board of Trade 2011-2012, Wendy is honored to be the 5th and youngest female chair in the organization's 125 years history. Wendy is also proud to have been appointed the first female trustee in 38 years on the Vancouver Police Foundation. In addition to this appointment, she is a current fellow at the Royal Road University in Victoria and previously served on the board of directors for Tourism Vancouver. Wendy philanthropic work is never ended. In 1987, Wendy founded the Century Plaza Hotel Spa Women's Media Golf Classic, an annual event that has raised more than 2.6 million for various children charities. Projects funded by her philanthropic endeavors, including the Vancouver Oral Center for Hearing Impaired Children, the Children Foundation, the Down Syndrome Resources Center, and many more. Wendy has a long list of local and national accomplishments, in addition to the 3 international awards she has received, including the Variety Club International Corporate Fundraising of the Year, Angel Award and Sales of Marketing Executive of the Year. She's also recently received the Leading Spas of Canada most prestigious honor, the Lifetime Achievement Industry Award, and has been named to Business in Vancouver Top 40 Under 40. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce you to Mrs. Wendy Lisogar-Cocchia from the Vancouver Board of Trade.
Well, thank you very much, and good evening, and everything sounds so much better with an accent, doesn't it? I am so thrilled to be here amongst my fellow hoteliers and friends from Air Canada. I didn't realize that Air Canada was such a big part of Le Clé and it's just fantastic to be in a room full of people that you definitely feel that you can relate to. I'm doing a lot of speaking to a lot of different events for the Vancouver Board of Trade these days, and so all of a sudden I'm in mining and then I'm in energy, and it's great to be here. I encourage you to tweet away while we have our function today. Without question, we've learned through the Vancouver Board of Trade and our businesses how important social media is, and I'd like to give you a little bit of enticement for all of the tweets that are received. I don't know how my assistant does this, but she'll draw somebody for a full day at one of our Absolute Spas, so tweet away. It's good for the organization. Next year at our Century Plaza Hotel, we will be celebrating our 40th anniversary, and my father was an architect and built the hotel, so I can easily say that I've actually been a hotelier for 40 years, born and raised, taking first steps, and it seems like just yesterday that it was my first day on the job at our hotel. First day on the job was quite interesting for me. I was, back then it was called a bus girl in our cafe, and at 10 o'clock at night we had a room service order, and being the new kid on the block, of course, everybody sent me upstairs, and they thought that this was particularly funny, so I sort of got a hunch something was happening, and then it was a bowl of cornflakes that was the order. So I thought, okay, something's really up, so knock, knock, knock on room 2906, and who opens up the door but 40 years ago it was the David Letterman of the day, Lawrence Welk. Well, fly away goes the tray, and cornflakes and milk all over Lawrence Welk, and to boot he's in his gym jams. And so that was my first day on the hotel job, and I was insistent on getting him a complimentary replacement, but he said that that was quite okay and that he was ready for bed now at that time. It was no surprise when I met Stefan at a Vancouver Board of Trade event that we hit it off and we had a lot in common. And I think that one of the reasons for that is that Le Clé and Vancouver Board of Trade definitely have a lot in common. And so I'd like to speak to 3 areas that I think are very synonymous attributes for Le Clé and Vancouver Board of Trade, and that is must be persistent, must be passionate, and must have great personal ethics. And found it so interesting when I was doing a little bit of studying on Google regarding Le Play d'Or, and how my personal motto is very synonymous with yours, and mine is, just for myself, is improving the quality of people's lives. So whether it's being in the hotel business or helping people through the spas or through philanthropy, whether it be business with the Vancouver Board of Trade or raising money for special needs children. And that's of course so much of what you folks do, is you improve the quality of people's lives every single day. Now, it's very easy for sure to be passionate about tourism, and the Vancouver Board of Trade is at the forefront for tourism, which is great for Le Play d'Or and the hotel industry and the airline industry. The Vancouver Board of Trade for sure is at the forefront, and definitely has tourism on the radar, as tourism is of course a huge economic driver for our province. And the stats are just absolutely amazing. It's so fantastic to brag around the world. 10.2 billion, annually employing 117,500 people and 266,000 indirectly, and of course attracting last year over 6 million visitors. And it's easy to have a fantastic policy at the Vancouver Board of Trade, whether we're working on open skies or on the recent US-Canada relations and the border crossings, or skill sets, for example. It's fantastic, taking our story to the world through some of these policies, when we can speak about our award-winning Vancouver International Airport, which we're so proud to have spas in those locations. And also Vancouver being ranked one of the most top-ranked livable cities in the world. And then of course, having an excellent reputation for hosting global events such as the Olympics. And that is because of folks like you taking care of people and improving the quality of their stays and their days and their visits, whatever their needs are. The second attribute that I'd like to share is regarding persistence. And Stefan, I think, is a great fearless leader for you on that, is that once we met, there was all types of ideas that he had that he wanted to bring to fruition. And I think that persistence is something that's very important in organizations such as the Vancouver Board of Trade. And one of the things that I wanted to do for the Vancouver Board of Trade in my year as chair is bring some really high-level speakers forth. And that's actually one of the events that Stefan and I really got to know each other, and that was at the Vancouver Board of Trade's AGM. And the high-level speaker that we were able to bring in was one of my all-time heroes. Our keynote speaker was Leslie Stahl from 60 Minutes, and I grew up watching Leslie Stahl, and it was just fascinating to meet her in person and hear some of the personal recollections she had about interviewing, really literally all of the world leaders over the past couple of decades. Stefan arranged with your organization a very kind escort into the beautiful Fairmont Hotel Vancouver ballroom, where it was packed with 650 people, and we had the Vancouver Police Department there as well. Not escorting Stefan, that is. He was escorting us, and so it was a very, very proud moment for me, for the Vancouver Board of Trade, to have your fantastic organization there literally at the head table escorting us up. As well as Leslie Stahl, we were very fortunate to have the Premier there, and this AGM was actually the day after the riots after the Stanley Cup, so it was a very meaningful day, and a day that actually Vancouver was very proud, if you remember, about 24 hours after the hockey game finished. And it was very interesting because Ms. Stahl said that when she got up in the morning, she was in New York City, and she turned on the news, and her husband said, "Look at this," and she thought it was the other side of the world. She didn't think that it was Vancouver, but then how fast, of course, we recovered, and how fantastic our citizens did. It was very interesting too regarding having Leslie Stahl there, because the format that she wanted, which we found out quite close to the date, was to be interviewed herself. So I've never interviewed anybody in my life, and why not start off with Leslie Stahl, right? And so that was very interesting. She made it very easy, and a lot of research helped out there. And then she actually interviewed the Premier after that, so it was actually a lot of fun. Another high-level speaker that we've been able to attract just recently actually was Clara Hughes, and she's just such a fantastic representative for sport and for tourism. and so many things. And we had a fun picture taken with her and the flags, with her wrapped around the flags, of course being our flag bearer, and so many records that she's beat and won, summer and winter Olympics. Just a phenomenal person for so many reasons. But one of the things I'm especially proud about the Vancouver Board of Trade is the reason that she spoke to us was that she was part of the BCE and Bell Canada announcement nationally across the country of $50 million to philanthropy, specifically to mental health and depression in the workplace. And she's their spokesperson for that, and they came and did a fantastic announcement to UBC for $1 million, and she was just an absolutely riveting, fantastic speaker, and somebody that we're really proud that the Vancouver Board of Trade was able to attract with such a phenomenal event. Another area that is absolutely spectacular regarding the Board of Trade is policy, and whether it be at the municipal or the provincial or the federal level, there's so many things that are spectacular for tourism in Lake or that the Board of Trade is working on. They have over 17 committees and 400 volunteers, excellent experts on these committees, as well as a membership base of 5,000 people. So some examples are with the municipalities. We're working very hard on homelessness, and it's fantastic with Mayor Robertson's support and our city manager, Dr. Penny Bellum, and excellent organizations such as Frank Justra's Capital Campaign on Street to Home Foundation, and some real inroads that are being made there. And of course, that's something really that's important, not only to our businesses, but also just to humanity. We're also working very hard on property crime and break and enters, for example, so to hoteliers. That's something that's very important. Glad to see the stats going in the right direction about that. And then on the provincial and the federal level, very pleased with some of the initiatives on the Pacific Asia Gateway. So recently we had Minister Ed Fast, the Canadian Minister for International Trade and Minister for Asia Pacific Gateway. And he was speaking to us and sharing lots of fantastic information from trips and panels that he's recently just come back from and been on. And he had a quote that I found quite riveting, I'll share with you, is Canada's future depends on Canadian businesses doing business in Japan, India, and China. And that certainly was the case exhibited by our Premier's recent very successful trip to China and India. And we're very pleased to have Minister Pat Bell speak to the Vancouver Board of Trade first when he returned from that trip. And it's one of the most, if not the most successful trade missions in history for British Columbia. Very exciting for tourism. I know that there was a lot of hoteliers on that trip. So you can see that there's a lot that I'm very passionate about, and the Vancouver Board of Trade is very passionate about, and I think that your association is very passionate about, because it really does come full circle. Another area of passion and persistence that I found, and it was really one of probably the most profound serendipitous moments of my life, was founding our Women's Media Golf Classic, which is coming up to its 25th year. I don't know how the heck 25 years happened. But I received a call, actually. My father had a stroke many years back, and unfortunately was not able to return to work. So 25 years ago, I received this phone call, and it was from a Tourism Association golf tournament, and lots of different hotels and airlines and associations involved all in this one fantastic golf tournament. When I received my father's invitation, I phoned them up and I said, you know, I'll be replacing him. And they said, well, I'm sorry, that's not possible. I thought, do they know about my golf game score? And it wasn't about that. I heard this hesitation, and I said, well, why can't I join you? And well, it's because you're a woman. I felt like saying, no, you're kidding. But it was actually a men's only golf tournament. So I just took this in jest, and I thought that it would be fun to start a women's golf tournament. Had a lot of friends in the media, and then this was all of a sudden born, and now it has a very heavy tourism and airline participation and presence, and I think that persistence in following through in things, whether it be Board of Trade or some philanthropy items, is very important. Whoever knew that one little phone call would have turned into 25 years, and very proud to say our team with $2.6 million, and also starting new charities as well, such as a Pacific Autism Family Center that now we're working on for children and adults. The last trait that I think that Le Clé d'Or and the Vancouver Board of Trade hold very synonymously is that of personal ethics. And without question, I was very fortunate to have training and do literally every job in the hotel business back then and now. My absolute favorite job in the hotel is being a concierge and working with people, because that's where you really get to make a difference. But we know that there's a lot of confidentiality involved, and we're very fortunate in our spas that we are able to attract a lot of celebrities, and we always, of course, ask their permission and in writing so forth that, are we able to work with them and say that they were here and so forth. And it's really interesting with the social media nowadays is that they take it one further. When Ashley Green recently was in our Absolute Spa at the Century location, when she was doing some work with Twilight, she actually tweeted from the spa regarding our Pacific Autism Family Center, and got a whole bunch of movement going regarding philanthropy. So it's really interesting in times how it's changed. But one of my all-time favorite stories is, and she's of course told me that I could share this with the world, is that a few years back, Ellen McPherson was in town and she was filming a movie here. And my husband works with me, but I didn't tell him that I was doing some work with Ellen McPherson. And so he had my cell phone when she called, and we had bonded quite a relationship, and so she gave me a shout. And she would phone me and say, where should I go for this, and who should I see for that, and so forth. So these weren't calls out of the norm, but I was actually with my daughter getting her ready in a costume at a school play in the back, and so my husband answered the phone, and of course this beautiful, deep, sexy voice with this thick Australian accent is on the phone, and can I talk to Wendy? No, I'm sorry, she's busy. Well, I have to talk to Wendy. I need to talk to Wendy. It's very important. My husband thinking, who the heck is this woman? And so he says, well, may I ask who's calling? He said, she'll have to call you back. And I wish I could do good impersonations, but I won't ruin it. And he says, well, this is Elle McPherson. And he said, well, this is George Clooney. Click. And he hung up on her. So when I came back, he told me of this rude call that he'd received on my phone. And what are you doing answering my phone? And so I obviously called her back, and actually the story just gets better, is that she said, well, I hope that you're free this afternoon. I said, well, I'm actually not. I'm tied up with my family. And I said, but what do you need? And so she said, well, I need to buy a bathing suit, and I have to buy it in like 2 hours. So I want you to come with me. And I'm thinking, okay, as a woman, what can make you feel worse about yourself than going bathing suit shopping with Elle McPherson? But it's just a fantastic journey that I've had in the hotel business and airlines, and very appreciative to be here with you all today. And I'm very appreciative, too, of the relationship between the Vancouver Board of Trade and Le Clé d'Or. I think that we hold a lot of similar projects in mind, a lot of similar policies, a lot of similar speakers. I really look forward to having the two associations work a lot closer together. And there's one quote that I love ending speeches with, if it's pertinent, but I can't think of a better group to share this with, and that is that people will forget what you say and people will forget what you do, but people will never forget the way that you make them feel. And Clé d'Or makes people feel fantastic. Thank you for having me.